spoilers for Andor, and honestly, most of Star Wars. As far as I'm concerned, Andor Season 1 is the best thing that Disney has done with the Star Wars franchise so far. The show is a great study of writing suspense, the acting is great, the tone is pitch perfect, you really feel the stakes, and you really care about the characters. I think they were able to accomplish all of this because of two things. One, it is really the first Star Wars show to use all of the time of a television show allows to build up tension and suspense, and it is unlike any Star Wars TV show we have seen. Really, it's different than any other Star Wars we've seen at all, except for maybe Rogue One. A story only has so much time to tell, be it a movie, a show, a book, a video game. To build suspense, you usually have to put up time to set up the stakes and to make everything believable. The players have to be put in place, and so does the obstacles. You have to find the perfect balance of this mission being possible and yet having challenges, but the challenges can't be so hard that when it's accomplished, it feels unbelievable. Andor took 6 episodes to build up the money heist, balancing all of these elements. That's a lot of time. More than a movie can do, and more than most shows are willing to have the patience for. Though there are exceptions. Andor used the almost 6 hours to place all the players, to build up the stakes of what was on the line, and then to execute one of the most suspenseful scenes I have seen in a long time. The show then spent another 4 episodes building up a prison escape, again doing the same thing. Both of these climaxes only worked with the time of a television show can allow. Compare that to the other Star Wars shows and how they built up suspense. Mandalorian was a series of side missions that eventually built up to the final boss, much like a video game. Now I want to make it clear that's not a bad thing. It gave us the Western samurai feel that the show was obviously going for, and many of the side missions were fun. It gave us a lot of great episodes. But the cost of doing this was that the final showdown wasn't as suspenseful as it could have been. Imagine how much more intense this scene would have been if the show had spent more time building it up instead of having them go in like 20 minutes ago. Mandalorian also spent a lot of time setting up for other shows or continuing storylines from other shows. Which is fine if that's what you want, but it does take away time from suspense building. Other Star Wars shows was more of the same. Kenobi, which was a great show in of itself, was just more of episode 3. We've seen Obi-Wan versus Vader before, twice, so it's nice to get more. I will never say no to Kenobi versus Vader, and getting Ewan McGregor back was amazing for what we have seen. And then we have Boba Fett, which was, in my opinion, a pretty weak show. I would have to do a whole video of why that show failed. There's just so much to it, I won't get into it. What's more amazing is that while suspense was being built at Andor, you were never really bored, as you might have been with a lesser writer. 6 episodes is a long time if all you are doing was building up for a climax. But no, you always had a sense of dread that was going on, so the tension was always there, as if things could go wrong even before they started. You also had interesting characters and world building that kept you interested. It's a very careful and intriguing balancing act that really worked. The show really has a different story structure than most Star Wars. It's closer to Mission Impossible, or maybe even Ocean's 11, than most other Star Wars projects. You get the mission goal at the start, steal the money, escape the prison, etc., but you see the plan being executed in real time without knowing the plan. This is straight out of Ocean's 11. The setup makes sense. If you were part of a rebellion against an evil empire, you would constantly question who you can trust and what risks you can take. You would always have to be 5 steps ahead. As I said before, the show had to build up stakes. A lot of time was spent showing that the characters were in fact scared, and you as the audience really felt that fear. A good example of that was when Karis, is that how you say it? Was telling Andor that he was happy he was there for the heist, even though Andor goes against everything he believes in.
Do I look thankful to you? No. But I'm glad that you're here. No matter what the reason.
In the original films, you could see that the characters were scared, you comprehended it, but it happened so fast you didn't really feel it, quote, in your soul.
Let's get out of here!
This Empire is still out there! I don't think it's
No
wise!
time to discuss this to committee!
This is one of the many wonderful ways Andor's built up suspense. and I'm not sure it could have been done without the time television allows for. Most Star Wars characters have amazing magical powers who have been trained since like they were 3 in combat. The conflict mostly comes down to who is the most powerful, or the most skilled at fighting. These characters make great action sequences, and they're cool, and they're fun, and I'm never gonna say no when Star Wars does this, but you never fully fear for their safety. Andor isn't a space wizard or a combat monk, he's just a guy who is smart, playing this game of life and death. Besides Han Solo, we've never really seen a lot of characters like him in Star Wars, at least none that are as rememberable. Andor's good with a gun, but most of what he accomplishes is due to the fact that he's just able to outthink the other person. The stakes feel different in a case like this as well, as opposed to a Jedi vs. Sith battle, since you feel the powerlessness of it all. It's one man versus an entire empire, or maybe even versus the world. I hope Disney takes more risks like this with Star Wars. We've seen Jedi and Sith and Mandalorians, and we will keep seeing more. It's not going to stop. But I like seeing something besides all of that. It's a big universe, even if it is a fictional one. I would like to see some different sides of it, and have risks that feel different than just Jedi vs. Sith. Thank you guys for watching. I really enjoyed making this video. Subscribe and like.